When designing your course, you may want to add a quiz. You have two options to add the quiz. You can use the content area, or you can use Course Builder. We're going to talk about how you do it in content area. As you can see, I have a unit, a subunit, and I have a topic there. What we're going to do is add a quiz now. So from your design screen, you go to the Add button. And as you can see, there's a lot of icons here, but the one you're interested in right now is the quiz. So we'll go ahead and click on Quiz. And you can see right there where it says Quizzes. Now, if you had quizzes already created, you can actually reuse them in different courses. Okay, so you could have a list of different quizzes, but I don't have any for this presentation, so we're going to actually create one. So you go ahead and click on Create. It asks you for a name. We're going to call this Quiz 1. And then it's kind of hidden, but you want to arrow down and you'll click the Create and Insert. Now, what is this doing? This is basically putting a placeholder for you in your content area so that you know there's going to be a quiz there, but you got to put all the contents inside, all the criteria, all the restrictions, and the questions, okay? So now we're going to go ahead and, now that we have this created, we're going to go ahead and go to the quiz. When you go into the quiz, it's going to go into an edit mode, okay? So here's your quiz. As you can see on the top here, we have several tabs. We have properties, restrictions, assessment, objectives, submission, and reports, but we're only going to talk about properties, restrictions, and assessment, okay? Properties are all of the specifics about your quiz, including the questions. The restrictions are managing your quiz, and the assessment is how is it graded. To begin, it asks for a category. You don't really require a category unless you have a lot of quizzes and you want to organize them in a certain way. You have your add and edit questions. We'll do that in just a second. We'll come back to that. You have a description area where you can add a description to your quiz. We have an introduction area where you can apply an introduction. We have a page header where you can apply a header that'll be on every page of your quiz, and a footer. At the very bottom, you can control some of the access that the users have. Allow hints, disable right-click. Why is that important? Because if they have right-click capability, they can right-click and copy a question, paste it somewhere else, and know it if they're going to take the quiz at a later time, or give it to somebody else. So you have disable right-click. And then the last part is to disable your email or any alerts or instant messaging. Allows more privacy, more security in your quiz. And then a notification email. Who do you want to notify that this person has completed the quiz? Maybe the instructor wants to know, or someone else. Now let's go to the next tab. The next tab is restrictions. Restrictions, now what is this? This is managing your quiz. By managing your quiz, you can control whether it's active or not. And we're going to go ahead and make it active for now. You may want to leave that as inactive until you're ready to roll it out, but you have to be careful because you have to remember you have to go back and make it active before users can use it. So go ahead and make it active. Then you can put a due date, start date, or an end date on this to control the activity of the quiz, of when people are taking it. There is a really important topic here called release conditions. You can control when a quiz is released to students. There may be specific criteria preceding the taking of this quiz that must be taken. Otherwise, the quiz can't be taken. So you can apply some release conditions to that. You can manage the time of the quiz. How long are you going to give them to take it? And special access is when a student misses a quiz and they had a legitimate reason and they have an excuse, and you allow them to take it at a later date. So you can set that up for that specific student to take that quiz at a later date, if there are restrictions on it. The assessment. How is this quiz going to be graded? First of all, are you going to allow the attempt to be graded upon completion? Now, what does this mean? Is it going to be graded when the quiz is completed, or is it going to wait until the due date so that everyone who has completed it gets it graded at the same time? So you have that option. The grade item. This is very important. This is where the quiz generates a score and stores that score inside the grade item. So it's very important that you have a grade item. So we'll go ahead and add a grade item. We'll call this quiz grade item. We'll go ahead and click save. So now we have a place for the grade to be stored. You can allow automatic export of grades. Now this right here is important also. Do you want the student to get credit for the quiz upon completion, or do you want to require them to make a certain score or higher to receive credit for this quiz? If you do that, you can go ahead and go here, add 70%, for example, and now they have to make at least 70%. Well, what if they're going to take the quiz once? Well, you can give them an option of taking it more than once. So right down here, how many times are you going to let them take it? 1, 10, or unlimited? Let's go ahead and let them take it unlimited. Let them have a few chances. And the last thing, how do you want the grade calculation? Highest, which is usually the case, but it also allows for lowest, average, first attempt, and last attempt. We'll go with highest. So that's the grade section. So there was one section we left out, and that was adding the questions for the quiz. So let's go back to properties. There was a button called Add Questions. So we'll go to that. Right here where it says Add and Edit, click that. Now you have a screen. You have a New button and an Import button. Import allows you to import questions that have already been created, but it has to be in a specific CSV file format. There's actually an example here that will show you what format you need. But for today, we're going to go ahead and create one. So we'll click New. D2L gives you an option of different tests or quizzes. True and false, multiple choice, matching. We'll choose true and false. As you can see, it brings up another window. On the top, you have the true and false. But what if you change your mind along the way? You can go ahead and change that to a different type. You add your question. We'll call this is D2L. That's a question. All right. And the answer, yes, this is D2L. We'll give 1 point for that. Now, saving, they have 3 options. You can save and go back to the main screen where you can see all the different questions, or you can save and it'll open a new question area, but it'll be blank. Or you can save and copy. Save and copy keeps what you have there, copies into another one, and you can use that as a template so that you don't have to type so much. It can save a lot of time. We'll go ahead and just click Save right now. That way we have the question. We're going back to the initial screen. Now you see the question that I added. Now, of course, you're going to have a lot more questions, but for simplicity today, we're having the one question. So this question, if you had some specific changes that you wanted to make or anything, you can highlight that, check that. You can move it, you can delete it, you can order it, you can edit it. On the right side here, we have the type of question, points, difficulty, and when was it last modified? Not created, but modified, because you can actually modify it at a later time. And now you click Done with Questions. You have all of your criteria laid out. You're ready to save and close. Go back to Content. Scroll down. And as you can see, we have a quiz that's been created within your course. And this is how you create a quiz.